was to de-escalate the breakdown of law and order in the state, which has seen the destruction of critical infrastructure.
A Greek will come in, but as of today, we still rely largely on oil. For anyone to touch these pipelines, it's not only the enemy of rivers, it's the enemy of Nigeria. All Nigerians, all the 36 states share in what comes in from the production of this oil. And I believe that the decision of Mr. President is anchored on the decision of the court, Supreme Court, as that. The second one is the inability of those involved, both the House of Assembly and the governor, from being able to, create an enabling environment for the people of Rivers to enjoy the dividends of democracy. Then the third in the series is about the security situation in that place. If he had waited maybe a day longer, only God knows what would have followed. And as a result of that, he came out to say, I am not only the head of state, I'm commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
In the meantime, the Senate has stepped down motion of proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State today at plenary. And our correspondent Lami Ali is at the National Assembly to update us of what is going on there. Hello, Lami.
Hello, all right. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, as explained earlier, the issue of proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State, as declared yesterday by President Bola Tinubu, was listed on today's other paper at Senate plenary. But at the commencement, the Senate leader announced that the matter will be considered by 3 p.m. after other matters that were listed after it have been considered. So we were waiting till 3 p.m. to see the matter coming up for consideration. But unfortunately, the Senate leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, again announced that the matter has been stepped down, which came via a motion. And so I have here with me a member of the 10th Senate, Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, the proclamation of the state of emergency by the president, as is provided in the Constitution, that is Section 305, requires approval of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, the matter was listed on the other paper for today, as announced by the leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, which he announced that it was going to be taken by 3 p.m. By 3 p.m. came, and then the Senate has adjourned plenary to tomorrow. Can you, as a member of the Senate that was at plenary today, tell us the feelings at the Senate concerning this motion?
Well, a very nice feeling, because the president had power to declare an emergency, which you have just said, and you cited the provision of the Constitution. And as a matter of fact, you do also know that the Constitution gives the power to the president to protect and enforce federal law. So, overall speaking, they have such power. Now, in respect of the approval of the Senate and the House of Rep, matters were brought today, and that's the beauty of the Senate. We want everybody to participate, so that you wouldn't say, oh, it was 3 o'clock when members have gone for Ramadan prayer that they proclamated. No, we are in tendium with Mr. President, because you see, let me tell you, number one, you remember very clearly it was Thomas Hobbes who says that life will be nasty if there is no Leviathan in place. Now the Leviathan can open his eyes and see properties and life being destroyed. So the feeling at the Senate today was very great. That we'll take it first in tomorrow morning. What's the difference between now and tomorrow morning? So tomorrow morning we'll come around and we'll vote and we'll get the 2/3, and that's fine by us because it borders on security of life and property. It borders on enforcement of laws, and there is nothing anybody can do. That is the first on the dashboard of Mr. President, to protect life and property. And anything short of that is unacceptable. And let me tell you, he didn't demolish democratic structure. He said suspension for the first 6 months does not amount to demolition. The governor is still the governor, except that he's suspended from office in order to restore peace and ensure the security of life and property. And lastly, let me also tell you that war is like hot water. When you put hot water on the pot and you lighten your gas, you can put your hand on it for the next 5 minutes inside that pot. Nothing will happen. But stay there for the next 1 hour. You cannot put your hand there because nobody will even tell you to take away your hand because the water starts gushing up. So war start breathing like that. So the earlier you quench it so that you don't get burnt and hotter it is, the better it is. And when we are talking about pipelines and all that going to be affected, honestly, we must secure life and property. And I think we are in tandem with the president. Tomorrow we will vote and you see how it goes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that was Senator Jimoh Ibrahim speaking on the motion, that is the proclamation of state of emergency on Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu, which he has confirmed that the stepping down today was to allow for more participation by members of the 10th Senate so that everyone will be allowed to participate and be part of the process for them to get the required 2/3 so that it won't be seen as if it was shoved down some people's throat or something like that. It has to have ample participation. That is why it has been moved by 24 hours. So by tomorrow, Thursday, the motion is going to come up again, and as our senator has confirmed that it's going to be approved by the 10th Senate because members are with the president on this situation, on this matter, to see that peace and order is restored in Rivers State. So Comfort, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Lami Ali. We'll look forward to the resolution of the plenary tomorrow. All right, declaration of state of emergency in Nigeria is a constitutional provision to restore peace and order in the country or any part of it. And declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State is the latest of these interventions. Ignatius Onkwo is standing by with a fact sheet of these declarations.
Well, Nigeria has experienced a number of states of emergency in its history, mainly due to security crisis, political instability, and some ethno-religious conflicts. Well, Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has amended. It powers the president to declare state of emergency in the entire country or any part of it under specific conditions to be rectified by the National Assembly. Some of the major declarations of state of emergency in the country. Well, in 1962, the Prime Minister, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, declared state of emergency in the Western region. This is as a result of the internal conflict within the Action Group, that is the political party then. Now, one of the outcomes of this is that the federal government took over the administration of the region and removed its premier, Chief S.L. Akintola. And then in 1976, the Obasanjo military administration declared state of emergency in Plateau State. The reason was as a result of violent ethnic and religious clashes. The military declared that the state of emergency in order to restore peace and order in the state. Between May 18th to November 2004, President Olusegun Obasanjo, now as a civilian president, declared state of emergency in Plateau State as a result of sectarian violence and ethno-religious crisis in Jos, which led to widespread killings. Then the governor of that state, Joshua Dariye, was suspended, and Major General Chris Ali, retired, was appointed administrator. Well, there was no formal rectification of that declaration by the National Assembly. Between 19th October 2006 and April 2007, President Olusegun Obasanjo again declared state of emergency in Ekiti State as a result of the political instability and impeachment controversy surrounding Governor Ayodele Fayose. Brigadier General Adetunji Olorin, retired, was appointed administrator. That declaration was rectified by the National Assembly. And then, between 2013 and 2014, in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states, President Goodluck Jonathan declared state of emergency in these states as a result of the increased activities and escalation of Boko Haram insurgency in that area. Well, that saw the increased military presence and operations, but as the insurgency proceeded within that period, but the elected officials were not removed or suspended. Now, that declaration was approved by the National Assembly. On the 18th of March 2025, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared state of emergency in Rivers State as a result of political crisis between Governors Similaye Fubara and the State Assembly. Well, that led to the suspension of the Governor and State Assembly members. Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas was appointed as sole administrator. The President had communicated to the National Assembly to that effect.
All right, still staying with the development from Rivers State. We're hearing some rumor from the state. So we're going to be joining Kingsley Amajuri in Port Harcourt to find out the current situation of things over there. Hello, Kingsley Amajuri. Currently, we have the news or rumor that there's a fire outbreak at a refinery in the state there. How true is that report?
All right, we actually, behind me is the Port Harcourt refinery. You could see the flare there, the gas flare there. When we got here, we actually interacted with people in this neighborhood. They dispelled the rumor of, before we got to the place, over the social media, we saw flames of fire. They said the Port Harcourt refinery had been attacked. But the truth is that in the contrary, the point here is that we heard that this flare you're seeing there was an overflow earlier in the day, but the authorities actually rectified it. At a point, we also heard that the men of the fire service came here, but before they came here, the thing was rectified. But it is not a question of any form of attack owing to the political crisis, because that is the rumor in the social media that it has been attacked, probably linking it to what is happening in Rivers. But the reality is the contrary. Why we also drove down to Eleme, here is Eleme local government area where the Port Harcourt refinery is situated. The atmosphere in the Port Harcourt city still remains calm. People are still going about their normal activities. Economic activities are still thriving. There is no unusualness in the contrary in the city of Port Harcourt. Everywhere is calm. People are going about their legitimate activities. That is the actual situation in Port Harcourt. We also see presence of security men just at some one or two locations, but it's not the unusual situation. Port Harcourt is still calm and life is going on as usual.
All right, thank you so much, Kingsley Amajuri, for clarity on that news that you said is false, because clearly we can actually see a fire outbreak where you are. We'll keep in touch to get what's happening in Rivers State. All right, let's go on a quick break. More reports ahead.
Celebrate Ramadan with Bafi and enjoy up to 40% off on selected products from living room, dining room, bedroom, and royal sets. Pay less, save more, and refresh your home for iftar gatherings and cherished moments with family and friends. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online to enjoy our exclusive Ramadan sale. Let's make this Ramadan unforgettable.
Experts have urged the Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution to step up and intervene in Rivers State's political crises and find a resolution mechanism to address the issues. This call to action follows recent discussions on Good Morning Nigeria, highlighting the need for peace to return to the state. Details with Kemini Williams. All right, that report isn't ready. We'll bring it at the course of the bulletin. But then let's take a look at federal government's commitment to achieving the Africa Water Vision 2025. As Nigerians' stance was made known by the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, at the West African Sub-Regional Ministerial Committee consultation meeting in Abuja. Usman Zuberi reports that the minister also tasked West African nations to intensify efforts towards realizing this vision.
Africa is facing a worrying water crisis. 400 million people still have no access to drinking water, and over 800 million are deprived of safe sanitation facilities, with the population expected to exceed 2.5 billion by 2050. The challenges of effective water resources management are more pressing than ever. It is against this backdrop that the Abuja consultation meeting brought together ministers, experts and sector stakeholders to discuss priorities and action to ensure sustainable water security in line with the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals.
That's what we need to work together to find solutions that plug that gap and enable us to utilize the full potential of our water resources to drive socio-economic development.
Discussions will focus on several strategies, priorities, such as the development of the post-2025 African Water Vision, implementation of decision-taking at the 14th AMCO Executive Committee, preparation for the third African Implementation and Partnership Conference. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Richard Filengwa, said federal government is currently focusing on strengthening water security, improving sanitation and hygiene, and enhancing food security.
A unique opportunity for the West African community to contribute to developing a framework that truly reflects the region's water sanitation challenges and priorities. Therefore, I implore you to contribute to ensuring that the vision and policy document formulated are one, aligns with the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda.
The recommendations from this meeting will be examined at the next AMCO General Assembly with a view to their adoption by the African Union in 2026. In Abuja, Usman Zuberi, NT News.
And for economic growth, the federal government has declared the sum of 200 billion naira to empower enterprises in Nigeria. Consequently, this will enhance access to finance, empowerment, and training for women across the nation. This formed part of the packages for 2025 International Women's Day celebration to boost their economic vibrancy. Details with Momso Damian Deti.
Democratizing access. We're trying to reduce the access to finance for women, access to market for women, access to capacity development for women, access to mentors for women, and access to training for women. 200 billion naira. 75 billion for large enterprises at single-digit interest rate, another 75 billion for SMEs at single-digit interest rate, then 50 billion naira for nano businesses. Nano businesses are businesses that have less than 3 employees and are turning over approximately 3 million naira every year. So if you further break that down to different months, that's 250,000 naira per month. His Excellency the President has said 1 million of those businesses should get an injection of fresh capital of 50,000 naira to add to their working capital. So these are market women, these are traders.
Seated here are traders, small and big business owners, government officials and financial institutions in an interface to deploy workable measures that will boost women's economic standing in commemorating this year's International Women's Day.
So we need to look at the bottlenecks that are stopping us from exporting and exploit that opportunity, which is one of the key deliverables of the macroeconomic reforms that the government is pursuing.
So what we need to do, let's have things that would ensure the objective we have set for ourselves in empowering women come to fruition. And that's what we mean by the Accelerate Action.
The gain for Nigeria is to encourage more people into export, and in exporting our produce, in exporting what we make as Nigerians, we are actually not just increasing our foreign earnings, but we're also creating jobs for our people, as well as creating visibility for our country across the world.
72% of women owning over 39.6 million businesses in Nigeria is a clear indication of their readiness to grow the nation's economy. Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
And we go to Gombe State, where the government is set to join other states in the country to formally launch the measles rubella vaccine in October 2025. This is as the governor's wife, Asma'u Inua Yahaya, holds a one-day sensitization meeting with spouses of local government chairmen and other key relevant players in the state. Zara Umar Adamu reports.
The investiture of the ambassador of measles and rubella vaccine on the wife of the governor and spouses of local government chairmen is clear commitment towards the fight against measles rubella. The sensitization campaign is part of a broader effort to improve immunization coverage and reduce the incidence of vaccine-preventable diseases, with the aim of ensuring successful vaccination of children aged 9 to 15 against the disease.
Wives of local government chairmen, as mothers, influencers, and ambassadors in your respective domain, you have a critical role to play in mobilizing women, caregivers, and traditional leaders to support this life-saving initiative.
The necessary logistics, training, and coaching infrastructure have been put in place to ensure the success of this program. I urge you all to take this very important message to the household, every mother, and every caregiver.
The Emir is personally committed to supporting vaccination efforts and promoting public health in our dear state, Gombe.
Combined measles rubella vaccine will be introduced into the national routine immunization schedule to complement the measles vaccine administered. Zara Umar Adam.
That concludes the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Comfort Amodu.